The Dayton Flyers bring an explosive offensive attack and a 6-1 conference record into the Cintas Center to take on A10 rival Xavier. The Musketeers plan to protect their home floor and spoil the Flyers' run towards the regular season title. Next on the U. Welcome to ESPNU coverage of women's college basketball. We are at the Cintas Center on the campus of Xavier University as the Musketeers host the Dayton Flyers in an A10 matchup. Taking a look at the A10 standings, Dayton dropped to third place just by virtue of Temple's win over Fordham yesterday. Xavier, meanwhile, has won their last 2 conference games. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anne-Marie Anderson alongside former Stanford standout Roz Gold-Onwude. Roz, Dayton been playing well all year long in conference play. Xavier, meanwhile, on the rise. What can we expect today?
Expect confidence. Xavier has momentum. The past 2 games they won, and here's why. It's pretty simple. They shot the ball better, and they've taken care of the ball. And they're going to have to do that today to stay with the conference's #1 offense in Dayton, a team that's deep in seniors and talent.
And that leads us to our one-on-one. Dayton has 7 seniors on their roster.
Those 7 seniors were a big influence in turning this program around, and there's no senior more influential than Justine Ratterman. She's a national and A10 standout. Now, it's almost the exact opposite for Xavier. They lost stars to Shea Phillips, Amber Harris, Special Jennings, and also a great head coach in Kevin McGuck. He went on to Washington. But they do return 1 starter, and that's Taisha Moss. She's leading this team in scoring and doing everything she can to lead this team.
Taking a look at Dayton's starting lineup, we talked about their seniors. 4 of them in the starting lineup. Keep your eye on Andrea Hoover, the freshman, the lone freshman in their starting lineup. Meanwhile, when you look at Xavier's lineup, Taisha Moss is the team's only returning starter from last season, as you mentioned, Roz, and their point scorer, Hawks. Also, will see a lot of time on the floor today for the Musketeers. The officials today, Diana DePaul, Robert Enterline, and Greg Small, and you're just about to get underway at the Cintas Center. Will Xavier be able to keep that momentum going from the last 2 conference wins?
Dayton opens up in a player-to-player defense. They're trying to tire this Xavier team out on D.
Immediately, Crouch goes right to it, gets her own rebound. And a lot of battling. One thing that Xavier has done all season long very well, Roz, is rebounding. They're up in the high 30s, about 38 rebounds per game. That has been steady for them. How's that going to play in today?
It's going to be huge. You know, they don't have that many players on the roster. 7, they have to do everything they can, the little things, box out, rebound, take care of the ball to stay in the game.
And Patrice Laylor picks up her first foul. And we're going to see this pressure all day long on Xavier. Take us through your keys to the game.
Well, Xavier has to take care of the ball. Turnovers have been their Achilles heel, as we see. You know, Dayton wants to get themselves off on an aggressive defense. They want to fluster. They want to tire this short roster out. And Xavier doesn't have much room for error.
You talk about those turnovers being an Achilles heel. They average 18 turnovers per game. Those last 2 games, though, 11. So they're hoping to hold on to the ball as they have the last 2 games, especially against the pressure and the quickness of Dayton. Crouch. And it's put back. Shots are not falling for them as Andrea Hoover, the freshman, grabs the rebound. Take us through Dayton's key.
Push the pace. Run, run, run. Dayton is first in the conference in scoring, and Xavier really can't match that firepower. Dayton likes to pass the ball quick. They're best in transition, and they have to exhaust that short roster.
You see Taisha Moss, 0 in the white jersey, getting 2 players on her. She gets so much attention from opponents. Taking a look at the series history, Xavier has dominated in the past, but Dayton the past few years, but Dayton this year certainly coming in with an advantage. There's another quick turnover left.
You know, taking care of the ball is going to be that much more important for this Xavier team because Dayton is so dangerous in transition.
Patrice Laylor draws first blood for Dayton. We've seen so much back and forth. We've seen the quick pace that you've talked about.
And now Dayton really trying to speed the game up, force turnovers so they can go on the run.
3 turnovers very quickly there. And that is exactly the plan, as you said. Patrice Laylor, number 20 in red. For Dayton getting a lot of attention. The turnaround does not fall for Casey Nance.
That's where Nance is best, with her back to the basket, one-on-one. You know, there's so much talent on that Dayton roster that you really can't double in on her.
Number 3 in white, Shatira Hawks, the point guard for Xavier, goes to Taisha Moss, 2 players who average for 38 minutes per game.
See, Dayton's already a very strong team in transition. You can't help them out by giving them turnovers because that's where they get the chances to run. If you take care of the ball, at least you slow the game down. Dayton.
5 possessions and 3 turnovers already for Xavier.
And that's because Dayton's been, you know, coming out, trapping on-ball screens. They've been picking up full court, forcing these turnovers and bad angles for the point guards.
Yep, 4 turnovers now for Xavier in 6 possessions. We're seeing really the nightmare that Amy wasn't fighting a lot this year, early on in this game as well. Shots up from Laylor, and it's good for 3.
That's a big shot from a point guard. You know, coming off of a screen, the defense sagged in, stayed inside the paint, and she pulls up behind the screen.
Xavier still trying to work inside. Amber Gray, number 2, wearing the mask. And a traveling violation.
That's unfortunate. Amber Gray's teammates need to help her out. When she's stuck and picks up the ball, her teammates need to move without the ball. They can't stand there next to the defender.
Xavier is led by Amy Wan, her first season as head coach. She was an assistant here at Xavier for 2 years. A great player here, a great perimeter shooter for the Musketeers, which has been frustrating for her. As you see, another basket from Justine Ratterman. It's been frustrating for her, she said, to not have that great perimeter shooting on her team.
Well, Moss is on the career list for 3-pointers made. However, you know, I'm sure Coach Wall wants to see more and more of it, but she's a very competitive as a player. I'm sure that translates over as a coach in this program.
8 seasons as an assistant at various universities, but this is where Wall's heart really is. And Dayton's head coach, Jim Jaber, his 9th season leading his squad. He's all-time win leader in program history, back-to-back NCAA at-large berths in the last couple of years. A very energetic coach, leading a team that's won 9 of their last 10. That's kind of where you want to be at this point in conference season.
And that's the growth he wants to see from year to year. And now looking specifically within this season, they could make a run, this Dayton team, at the A10 championship if they keep this pace up.
As we mentioned at the beginning, they dropped to 3rd place in conference standings just by virtue of Temple playing yesterday and winning. St. Bonaventure, though, 9-0 in conference play right now, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out between those 2.
This A10 conference, the top 3-4 schools, it's very competitive. It means a lot less right now about standings as much as it means a lot more about learning moments and momentum.
Shot falls just a little bit short for Amber Gray. Samantha McKay pushes it down to the baseline to Ellie Queen. And good job drawing the foul. Sabrina Johnson picks up her first. So we're seeing the pressure from Dayton. How will Xavier respond as Dayton leads by 7? ESPN News exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by American Family Insurance. Visit amfam.com today to learn more. And by Weight Watchers. Move like a man with Weight Watchers online for men. Xavier looking to look at their banners. They've had a lot of success on this team historically, but they graduated some big players, lost a couple to the WNBA, as a matter of fact. And as a result, there are two players in particular who are playing an awful lot of minutes.
Well, Moss is playing the most minutes in the conference, but I really want to highlight Shatira Hawks. She has to step into this role of playing more minutes. Last year as a freshman, she played 8.2. This year as a sophomore, 36.8. So you talk about increasing your role. She's got to step up for this team to be successful.
It'll be interesting to see how those minutes play out when we see the pace of this game so quick at the start. What's it going to be like at the end of this matchup?
You know, it comes down to conditioning. It comes down to rest. I actually asked Coach Wah, how do you handle the shorter 7-player roster? She says we go hard for about an hour, hour and a half. And then, you know, we try to rest as much as we can.
Number 3, Shatira Hawks, who you just talked about, averaging 36.9 minutes per game. Brought the ball up. Only 5'3". She's scrappy. Gets the ball back. Puts it outside.
She's slippery, but she's very small, so she's got to find good angles to make those entry passes into the post.
Moss trying to find a lane, doesn't, but draws the foul. Ellie Queen picks up her first foul. Her second foul, excuse me.
You know, that shot you just saw from Moss, that's the story of the season. Low in the shot clock, who's going to come bail you out, take a falling away floater against a lot of defense in the paint. That's going to be Moss because she's the lone senior, the lone starter, and she's taken on the role of carrying this team.
81% shooter from the free throw line. Picked up her 1,000th career point Wednesday at St. Louis. Does a little bit of everything for this team. She's played 6 40-minute games, 1 45-minute game. Talk about conditioning. She's there.
She has to play. You know, the nice thing, though, is as a player, you want to be on the court. I've never really met a player who's trying to come out the game.
Hoover, the freshman, looking for an opening. This shot long from three-point range goes nowhere for Cassie Sant.
Xavier actually did a nice job of boxing out there, just didn't get the ball.
6 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Rebound is grabbed by Jessica Patchko. Patchko recruited by Dayton as well. Coach wanted to get her when she came from Marquette, so they didn't have a scholarship available. Lost her to Xavier.
She's a tough player inside the paint. Nice touch.
Patchko's shot to that end does not go, and the Xavier team is 0 for 6. Little stop. Hawks tries to kick in her speed. Loses control of it a little bit.
Xavier's played excellent defense the past 2 possessions. They've been very help side aware. They've boxed out. They've done every single thing you would want as a coach for your team to execute on defense.
How do you get their offense going?
Well, you know, I think you have to go through Moss. You know, she's your best player, but you also don't have a lot of one-on-one creators, so you have to run sets where you bring cutters to the basket, get them in motion, close to the rim for easier shots.
Defensively, Hawks putting some pressure on Laylor. From the outside, it's good for Cassie Sant for 3.
Set up by the penetration. Penetrate, get the defense moving, recovering, playing help side, and a 3 will open up.
Lots of pressure on Taisha Moss. She's doubled. Hawks goes back out to Waninger.
Comes off of the penetrate and pitch, drawing defense. The help was deep in the paint, sets up a wide open 3.
Latrice Laylor, senior, number 20 in red. Moves the ball up. They're going to try to stay on the perimeter a little bit, Dayton. Allie Malott looking for that shot. And they're smothered defensively as Andrea Hoover, the freshman, getting some attention. Sunday, ESPNU is your home for ACC basketball. This week, the Miami Hurricanes visit Seth Curry and the 5th-ranked Duke Blue Devils. ACC Sunday Night Basketball presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups on ESPNU, ESPN3, and also streaming live on WatchESPN.com. At 3 Eastern, a little baseline works for Andrea Hoover.
Nice change of pace for a freshman, coming off the screen hard and then slowing down just in time for the shot.
Jessica Patchko looking for an opening, draws the foul again.
Patchko first does an excellent job of moving without the ball into an area where Moss can lead her towards the basket. She tries to split the defense and gets the players in motion. She's a tough player getting fouls.
Yep, Cassie Sant picks up her first foul. And Patchko, 79% shooter from the line. And all of 3 of Xavier's points have come from the free throw line. This team pretty good from the line the last couple of games, but overall 72%.
Well, Xavier is a blue-collar team. They've got to rebound, they've got to hit free throws, do all the little things to get those extra points here and there. Winning a game has nothing to do with being the best team. You know, executing what your game plan as a team is what will make you successful. So if Xavier wants a low-scoring, grind-it-out game, and actually they're doing a very nice job in the first half, later in this first half, of keeping Dayton in a half-court set.
Number 13.
Dayton has had a couple of outside shots. They're working inside now. That's Applewhite. Does get the foul and the bucket off of Lakeisha Crouch.
Applewhite is known to be an aggressive player, you know, athletic, energy. She keeps her pivot foot alive and keeps moving into the basket. And what helped her was staying low under the rim. For a post player, the balance by staying low helps you get the power to put it up.
Coach has been happy with Applewhite's play of late, saying she's starting to do good things, starting to give us some depth. And how about the putback? Cassie Sant rebound and puts it back.
Sant's an all-around player, inside and out. She can do everything for this team, play a number of positions.
And Patrice Laylor picks up her second foul. And certainly foul trouble can't even be discussed at all for Xavier today. For Dayton, they've got a little bit more room, but 2 fouls to a very important player for them early on in this first half.
Dayton picking up player, full court, too close on Hawk. She's way too fast for that.
Amber Gray got an open lane, and Xavier's first bucket of the day. As I mentioned, the other points will fall from free throws. That's the first field goal of the game for the Musketeers.
That's an important play, Anne-Marie, for this Xavier team, because Dayton's going to try and pressure them. And what you need to do when a player is all over you is attack them. And that's exactly what Gray did, and she found the basket. Less east-west motion, north-south.
A little bit north-south. Charging foul, bucket's no good. And Xavier ahead, Xavier trailing 18-5, the lone bucket for the Musketeers. And a part of that success, Rosin, know what it feels like to win.
Well, you know, Dayton, they're led by Justine Ratterman. And she's not only, this preseason was nominated to be on the award watch list for the national list, and also the Lowe's Class Senior Award.
These seniors have won 20-plus games every year that they have been here. This year continues for them with that kind of success. What confidence does that give you at this point behind Justine Ratterman?
Well, you know you've been here before. You know who you can count on. You know what it takes, not only game day, but also in practice. When you've got a lot of senior leaders, you've got consistency. People pushing the pace every day, bringing on freshmen. You know, that's not what Xavier has right now. There's only one player who knows what it's like to play at an elite level, and everybody else is going to have to figure it out on their own.
Yeah, and it's tough, too, because their coach knows what it's like to play on an elite level as well. So
it's tough to translate from a coach, though.
Right.
A lot of times it does have to come from the locker room.
And that's what Coach was saying, that she needs that leader, as you see Ali Malat from the baseline. The pressure on Taisha Moss, that lone veteran player that you've talked about. And she's going to see that pressure all day. Roz, what can they do? Who else needs to step up for the Musketeers to take some of that off of her?
Every single other person on the court with her. So when a player is getting trapped, you've got to help her out by getting good angles. Don't stand where you are. Come back a little bit. Give her the angle where she can step back and pass it out of the trap to you. And now you've got an advantage. Dayton now makes it work for them. They dribble in, bring the coverage, and pass out of the help. And that leads to open shots. Players moving without the ball, which is key.
Jim Jaber's team said, hey, look, Xavier is our biggest rival. We've had to claw for everything this year. He's telling his team coming in, look at those last two games. Look how good they've been those last couple of games. Don't look at the overall record. But he definitely has his eye focused on the A10 championship. Still attainable even with St. Bonaventure at 9-0?
Oh, definitely. I think anyone who's in that top 3-4 can make a nice run at this at the A10 championship. Again, it's about momentum. It's about learning at this point of the season, and most teams are only one win away from each other. One win, one loss.
Moss with pressure goes back outside and scores off of Amber Gray. And as you look at Amber Gray's mask there on her face, she has a history. She had a stroke. She had some surgery, a vein taken from her face. And so that's why she wears the mask, to protect it. It's not a new injury that she will be wearing that for the rest of her playing career.
It also shows, you know, what kind of a warrior she is. That was a surgery, an operation that most people would have had a hard time coming back just living any regular, everyday life. She comes back and is an athlete. You know, she had a hard time walking, swallowing, remembering things, and now she's back on the court. And this season, 30 pounds lighter.
Yep, and I like it. She named her mask Henry.
That's kind of cute.
It says Henry protects me. Xavier fighting to hold on to the ball after 8 turnovers. They don't want to let any more go that they can. They do retain possession. There's a good look at Henry.
Henry protecting the face of Amber Gray. You know, you can only imagine the kind of potential that this kid has and can only get better. Came in as a McDonald's All-American, Parade All-American, Miss Ohio basketball before the operation.
What can you say about the defense of Dayton at this point?
No, they're very focused. They're always aggressive. It's not just being close to the ball. It's also watch their hands, always moving, looking for deflections. It tires an offense out and really tires the mind of a point guard.
Just inbounding the ball, a challenge. Xavier recovers. They've got a long way to go, though. The Tyra Hawks back in control.
One thing that separates Dayton from other ball pressure-oriented teams is they really deny the pass. Watch, players can't even get open. They force the player with the ball to make a play or turn it over.
Moss trying to find some room, goes to Patco, 5 seconds remaining. Moss puts it up for 3, it's no good.
You'll see that a lot. Moss, with a few seconds left, taking the bailout shot for her team.
Hoover kicks it inside. Ball goes off of Xavier's hands, and Dayton retains possession.
Xavier's doing a good job of slowing down the Dayton fast break off of rebounds. They're getting back into transition D, meeting them in the paint, and forcing them to play in a half-court set. That is the best chance they have at stopping a very hot Dayton offense.
Dayton looking inside lane for Ali Malat. She recovers. Fresh shot clock for the Flyers. Shot is up for 3, and it's good from Andrea Hoover, the freshman.
Coach says Hoover is fearless as a freshman. He says she's too unselfish, too. She needs to shoot the ball more. She doesn't even have any idea of just how good she can be. She's one of these players that will be the future for Dayton after they graduate, all these seniors.
Patchko and Xavier looking. Turns around, gets two.
Patchko's battling in there.
She thought about it. Steps inside, takes another shot. It doesn't fall for Ratterman. And Jim Jaber, the head coach of Dayton, has had so much success. We've talked about the 20-plus wins in each of the last 4 seasons. He was the A10 Coach of the Year a few years ago. Consistently puts out strong squads.
He goes beyond the effort of hard work and dedication. And he's a New York guy out of Brooklyn, you know, so he brings that toughness and inspires these women to bring it every single day.
Wanninger just 63% from the line for the year. And there we see the speed as Ellie Queen finishes for the Flyers.
Dayton was just too much in transition there.
So
Xavier was never even aware of what was happening in the play. The players didn't tandem up, they didn't guard, they didn't pick up players in transition, and it made for an easy basket for Queen.
Ellie Queen, number 11 in red, the glue of this team, according to coach, calls her the most important person on this team, and she's charged in part today with trying to contain Moss a little bit, although we've seen that she's been doubled every time she's touched the ball.
Yep.
Moss has.
And Queen is their defensive stopper. And she does every little thing this team needs, and she's game to guard the best player.
Dayton, meanwhile, keying up for a pretty tough road, including a game against Charlotte Wednesday, and then the St. Bonaventure undefeated matchup next Saturday.
Bonaventure was picked to finish 6th in the preseason. They're surprising a lot of people behind the play of Jessica Jenkins, 3-point bomber. This team looks very good. It's going to be a big game coming up for them.
The deficit grows for Xavier, 25-9. They are trailing. They try to push it inside, and everywhere they go, there's 2 jerseys. Traveling violation for the Musketeers.
You know, that's unfortunate for Patchko, but she does such an excellent job of putting her arm out as a target, leading the point guard to where she needs the ball and a space where she can get open.
Up in there you see the standings again. Dayton 6-1 in conference play. St. Bonaventure 9-0. Temple picked up another win yesterday, 7-1.
Dayton, St. Bonaventure, and Temple. I'd even throw Charlotte in there. 4 very tough teams in this conference. Any one of them, I think it's up for grabs for who could win a conference championship.
And for Dayton playing Charlotte Wednesday and St. Bonaventure on the weekend, it's tough. Meanwhile, Kayla Moses with a block. It's her first block all year. Dayton leads 25-9.
Don't know which game to watch?
Dayton leading Xavier 25-9. Xavier's had some trouble holding onto the ball. 9 turnovers already in this first half for the Musketeers. Coming up after us, we have a good game. 23rd ranked DePaul versus 2nd ranked Notre Dame. Notre Dame's won 19 consecutive games. Skylar Diggins 17 points per game, and Anna Martin second in the Big East with 18.6.
Oh, it's going to be a battle in the backcourt. You've got 2 great scorers. You've got the 2nd leading scorer in the Big East in Anna Martin, and then the top passer in the Big East in Skylar Diggins. You know, they're leading very tough teams, and that DePaul team, they're always coached behind Coach Doug Bruno about hard work, effort, bringing it every day. And they're going to need that to upset possibly Notre Dame, a team that is very pesky on defense, aggressive, and can score the ball.
Fun game for women's basketball fans. And still be able to get that in before the Super Bowl. If you can do both.
There's enough time, folks.
There's enough time. I will definitely be watching that game.
If not, you know, Super Bowl can wait.
Watch ESPN app, too. Shatira Hawks at the line, 79% free throw shooter. Makes 2. Really a player that is so valuable to this thin team because there's not a lot of depth.
Well, imagine if she wasn't there. Then that would make Moss have to score, defend, and run the point. That's too much to ask of one player. She's taking relief off of Moss.
Fresh off her block, Kayla Moses tries to get one inside. Ball does not fall.
Moses is little too. You know, she's just about as tall as the Hawks, about 5'3". Both aggressively attacking the basket, though, as though they were giants.
Yeah, exactly. Cassie Sant, meanwhile, has legitimate height at 6'3". A great volleyball player as well in high school. And that one goes in and out and gives this team a lot of depth.
A lot of depth, and specifically because she can play at 2 positions. She can give you minutes at a guard spot. She can give you minutes inside. She has a nice touch around the rim. Not as much of a back-to-the-basket post. But with that size, she can also defend and disrupt guards.
And Coach likes having a 6'3" player who can shoot from beyond the arc.
Who wouldn't? 2-2-1 press for Dayton, looking to contain. Back into a player defense. Boy, Dayton does not let Xavier rest at any moment.
Fought hard for that basket, did Lakeisha Crouch. Dayton, little open lane, plenty of room for Samantha McKay. Xavier trying to open things up a little bit more. Shatira Hawks at the top. Going to use that speed to go right through the middle. Does not fall, though, and Sant picks up the rebound.
Good read by Hawks to split the trap. The outer player was late.
All alone for 3. Justine Ratterman picks up just her second basket. 5 points for her.
Ratterman, so tall, 6'1" guard, high release. You know, she's a tough guard for smaller guards, and then she can put her back to the basket and post them up. Very versatile.
A little bit of room, decided to take it all the way, but Cassie Sant in the way, picks up another block.
Here's Sam McKay, keeping her dribble alive, seeing the holes in the defense and attacking the rim. Nice heads-up point guard play. And now players are concerned about penetration, so they're deeper in the paint, leaves Ratterman open for a 3, and she can hit that.
Coach has said that Justine Ratterman hasn't been scoring as consistently as he would like just recently, but normally she's a dead-eye shooter from long range, you know, hitting about 330 this year. With an array of post moves, and Coach said she's so good. She's a rebounder who's going to finish her college career with almost as many blocks and steals as turnovers.
Well, I don't know if you'd want to, you know, be looking at the turnover column.
Yeah. But in other words, she's really does a little bit of everything, plays so much.
Exactly. And it's not only that she's doing a lot even on offense, but also defense, you know, disrupting shots, and then possibly having the block that leads to the fast break where she can run down and get a shot or a layup in transition. She runs the court very well, too.
Xavier fighting underneath, draws the foul, Jessica Patchko does.
Patchko is intense in there. She is big, strong, and solid and battling. You have to, Dayton's not really boxing her out, and you have to because she's aggressive.
Meanwhile, the freshman Andrea Hoover has picked up her 3rd foul for the Flyers. Hoover goes out, and Ellie Queen comes in for her.
It's like subbing out offense for defense. Hoover's the second leading scorer, and Ellie Queen is a defensive stopper.
32-15 in the first half. 5 minutes remaining. A Dayton team that's been pushing the pace, and a Xavier team with only 7 players on its roster. Going to play a lot of minutes. Ratterman loses the ball, gets it back, or McKay loses the ball, gets it back. For 3. And it's good for Samantha McKay.
McKay is making a lot of good reads. First, keeping her dribble alive for the drive to the basket. Second, recognizing that the defense did not come out on her behind the three-point line and knocking it down.
Ball put inside, nice turnaround. Patchko works hard, gets the play, ends up on the ground with Olivia Applewhite. 7 points for Jessica Patchko.
Xavier should go inside to Patchko every single time. She's begging for the ball. She's showing her chest. She's showing her hands, giving a target. She's getting in deep. Right now, Dayton doesn't have an answer inside, and the half-court set is what Xavier likes best.
Taking a look there at Patchko. Transferred from Marquette. It's her first year playing for the Musketeers. Dayton still thinking about that outside shot. That one doesn't fall, and he's there fighting for the rebound, but Patchko, Crouch comes up with it. And Moss tries to deliver it inside, ends up in a turnover. 10th turnover for the Musketeers in this game. Little shot on the move, does fall for Samantha McKay, who has 8 points.
It's been the Sam McKay show. But since she's been in the game running the point, there's been a lot less passing around for offense, especially in transition.
Gray outside for 2. Xavier recovers to Tyra Hawks for 3. Shots off.
I think
Dayton continues to dominate by 20 points early in the first half. Xavier struggling to find some momentum.
Turnovers, which have translated into 14 points off of turnovers. They're down 20 right now. That's 14 points they could have had back if they took care of the ball. And that comes with time. It comes with consistency with the head coach. It comes with consistency with players, understanding of roles, how to move, how to play against top teams. This is a team with a bright future, perhaps next season as well.
Now, right now, Taisha Moss, the only returning starter, as you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, from last year's team. Ball escapes all the way across. Wide open, does not fall for Ellie Queen. And Xavier with an opportunity to take advantage.
You notice they slow it down, getting a half-court set. Coach Waugh said, we want to grind this game out, play at our pace.
Mid-court jumper doesn't fall, but the rebound is grabbed by Crouch in a sea of red jerseys. Second rebound, though, picked up by Samantha McKay. And a turnover.
Xavier's got a lot of talented players. It's just hard to be talented for 40 minutes when you're playing all of them. You know, you're tired, you can't think straight.
Ooh, it looked like it was going to be a turnover. Ends up in the hands of Ashley Waninger, but it gives you an idea of kind of how frantic Xavier has looked at times.
And that's because of the pressure. You know, pressure, when you play against the pressure defense, it's not only flustering you when it's on the ball, but even when you don't even have the ball, you can't make decisions as quickly because your mind is moving at a faster pace.
Waninger at the line. This team 8 for 12 from the free throw line so far in this game. Waninger, a sophomore, local, out of Cincinnati.
Coach Waugh said Waninger is our glue player. She steps up, she makes good decisions, she comes in, hits shots, she plays defense. All those little things.
No good from the outside again from Ashley Malott, corralling her up. Turnover in Xavier's way, and Taisha Moss with the ball. That's the 4th turnover for Dayton to Xavier's 10. Moss able to draw the foul.
Nice first step from Moss. First hit the defender with a slow down, change of pace, rose up a bit, got Sam McKay to raise up, and then changed her speed, pushed it out, and took the content going to the rim. Crafty move, good handle.
Moss picks up her 3rd point of the game. The team's scoring leader with 13.4 per game. She's seen a lot of attention from the Dayton defense today.
The one thing about Moss, she's not out there trying to move with a lot of speed. That's more Hawks. Moss is out there crafty, changing speeds, using her handle to get herself opportunities. Xavier in a 2-3 zone.
Ellie Queen pushes it inside. And we've seen several Dayton turnovers in a row here. Opportunity after opportunity for Xavier. Moss looking for some room, doesn't get it, turned over. Ellie Queen with the ball coming the other way. And there's Ratterman. It does not fall. Coming up on the SportsCenter U halftime report, highlights of last night's Kansas-Missouri tilt, as well as a thriller in the Creighton-Northern Iowa game. And also a preview of today's Michigan-Michigan State game, and Miami visits Duke. And Dayton, as you mentioned, playing well all year. They've been going back and forth, tied with Temple in terms of their matchup earlier this year. They dropped the game to Temple 61-57 at Dayton. Shea Petty of Temple scored a game high 21 for the Owls. I watched that game. It was just a slow start for the Flyers, something that is absolutely the antithesis of what started here today.
Yeah, against Temple, you're going to have to come out and put together 2 strong halves, a full 40 minutes. They didn't shoot the ball well, 12% from 3, and they didn't take care of the ball. 20 turnovers. You're just shooting yourself in the foot because of what it did end up being a close game.
And if Dayton wins this game today, they will be tied for 2nd in Atlantic 10 conference standings with Temple. Ball is up and good for 3 from Samantha McKay. 11 points already for McKay. She averages 4.2 per game. How do you like that?
She's stepping up today. Layla on the bench, and she's running the point, getting people involved, and scoring, being a scoring point guard.
For 3, it's perfect from Ashley Roninger. Five points for Waninger. Moss with a little bit of room. Drives inside, doesn't get it. And Sabrina Johnson comes in, tries to aggressively get a rebound.
I asked Coach Waugh, how are the ladies keeping their morale? She said, they are, and they come in every day and work hard. You can see that. It's not for lack of effort, their record.
Xavier has made a 3-point field goal in 212 consecutive games. So they've got that. And you talk about how they're extending, or how they're sustaining their momentum, their attitude. Those 2 conference wins certainly helped, according to Coach Waugh.
They're getting it together. They're starting to get momentum. They're starting to execute what she wants to see on offense. And Xavier does a good job of setting balls, setting screens away from the ball, bringing cutters towards the basket. You don't expect to come into a rebuilding year and then all of a sudden everything turns around. That's not why it's called rebuilding. You look for 1 game, 2 games, 3 games where your team does something right and build off of that.
.45 remaining in the half. Xavier looking for something positive here at the end of the half. Moss finds a little something positive.
Yeah, she's something positive for this team. Willing her team into the game, trying to keep it somewhat close.
6 points for Moss in the first half. Dayton with 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Pressed inside, it does go for Casey Nance. And just 8 seconds remaining in the half. Got to take the shot. It does not go, and Dayton on a 13-0 run. At the half, Samantha McKay, the leading scorer so far today, 11 points. Averages just 14.2 or 4.2 points per game, so she's well above that. And when we return, we'll take a look at highlights from last night's Kansas, Mizzou, and Creighton, Northern Iowa games, as well as previewing today's big games. That'll be out of the Sports Center U studios.